have our next meeting scheduled Wednesday, September 27th, 4:30 at CCEA. And then a meeting 12 if needed, Monday, October 2nd, 2023 at 4:30 at the district.
Yes.
Okay. And you have an agenda in front of you. This is just what's been on the table. That's still on the table. And then the tentative agreements that we have agreed to. Does that all look accurate?
Yes.
Okay, we're all on the same page. That's good. All right, so we'll get started this evening. I do first want to start with thank you for your presentation and the sharing of the materials. That was very helpful with us last week. And I think you will find that we have the same goals that you do. But before we get, well, we're going to get started, but John's going to kick off the presentation in the review of some of the budgetary things that you had in your presentation. Okay? And we have the presentation up in both rooms, so you don't have to stretch your neck or hurt your back.
Thank you, Val. So I first just wanted to take this opportunity to clarify some of the figures that were mentioned last week during the presentation by CCEA staff, and a statement on how CCPS could afford the CCEA proposal with a $31 million price tag. So the true costs of the CCEA proposal is not the $4.54 million that was presented. It is closer to the $29 million. And as you can see on the chart here, the figures presented by CCEA staff did not properly account for the state guidelines on the use of the teacher salary increase allocation, and also subtracted out funds with budget shortfall reserves. So as I mentioned, the true cost of the proposal is closer to the $29 million, which you'll see on our chart on the right here. The only thing that really is not a cost to the district would be the TSIA growth portion that is provided to us by the state. The rest is a cost to us. The rest is using district dollars. So you'll see on the next slide here, just to go into a little bit greater detail on the teacher salary increase allocation and the breakdown. We receive approximately $18.1 million from the state for the teacher salary increase allocation. Those are categorical dollars that we can basically only use for a teacher salary increase. However, that portion also has a charter school portion which has to be subtracted out, which you did have on your chart as well. It's the basically $1.8 million that has to be subtracted out, which gives us the district portion of the teacher salary increase allocation, which is $16,389,214. Of that portion, the district must use the maintenance portion to fund the previous approvals for the last few years from the teacher salary increase allocation. So the state provides that to make sure that we maintain those previous approvals and those previous funds and those previous salary increases. That portion can only be used for those past increases. We cannot use it towards any new increases. But they do give us a portion that can be used, and they call it the growth portion. As the name implies, it's used for new increases for growth. And they give us approximately $3.9 million. So that $3.9 million, and of course the charter school portion has to be subtracted out. That's what can be used, and that is what can be subtracted from the cost that you have provided. So I just wanted to provide some clarification because I know the teacher salary increase allocation can be confusing because you see that dollar amount, you think we can just subtract that amount out. However, unfortunately, the state has very specific guidelines on how we can use those funds, and it's tracked very closely, and we have to be within compliance on those guidelines.
And I will hand out the proposals in the written form, but we're going to present from the PowerPoint so you can see what we're proposing tonight. All right. So we just wanted to recap where we were and where the proposals were on the table. And you can see from the top, this is what CCEA has proposed salary only. This doesn't include all the other supplemental proposals that have been on the table, like supplements, class divided, and those types. And then you can see where the district has come in with their proposals. Your last proposal was at 16.12% at 31 million, and that includes fringe. And our last proposal came in at 17 million and 8.72%. We just wanted to share with you a detailed historical data on the negotiations that we've had with CCEA since 2016. I could share more, but don't have room on the slide. But you can see that we have been committed to paying our teachers increases each and every year. And we've increased the amount each and every year. And you can see we've also raised the base salary for our teachers on the recruitment side, and the overall funds that we've used to spend. Last year, there was a 9.7% increase, and that was total package all in. We increased all the supplements for master's, doctorate, sub-period pay, which is on the table again. We did $22.80 to the base and salary, and we added one step to the grandfathered, which was Z. We also wanted to share with you, and I'm just going to get my water real quick. I'm just getting right. Share with you the average teacher salary comparison to other districts, and this is a state report that is shared every year. This is from last year, 22-23, and as you can see, we're the third highest in the state, and we do not have a tax referendum. You can see who has a tax referendum for operating. Anyone who has a tax referendum for capital, that cannot be used on salaries. That's for building, maintenance, and those types of things. So you can see operating costs there, and this will go up because this is data from last year. And we hope to remain in the top 2. So one of your slides last week included your goals for CCEA. And you used a quote from Dr. Riccadelli that she said during her interview was that she wanted to provide the absolute best salary package we could possibly offer. That is the goal of the board, and that is the goal of the superintendent. We don't disagree, we're on the same page. We want it to be fair to all teachers, just like you do. We want it compliant with Florida statutes. We want to increase opportunities for recruitment, because when we fill our classrooms, stress on teachers goes down, burden on teachers go down. We want to honor all teachers and their experience, and where they come to us with experience or the experience they have now. But we have to be fiscally responsible, and it has to be sustainable for the future. So here is our final salary package, and this is a final salary package, last and final. We are offering a $3,000 increment on the actual salary schedule. We are also adding one step on the grandfathered schedule for everyone A through Y, and we're doing a one-time bonus at step Z for $1,500.
Bonus don't count.
Performance is going to be $3,200. Effective is 2 steps at $880, and highly effective is 6 steps at $2,640. And you can see it is a flat 10% increase across at a cost of $19.569675. And you can see with the increases of the supplements, the 7th period assignments, teen lead, dual enrollment, we come in a little over $20 million at 10.38%. It's important to keep in mind the statutory regulations between the grandfathered and the performance. We are unable to pay the same amount for both salary schedules. We just want that to be very clear. So I know the employees in the room are saying, what does that mean for me? This is just a portion of the salary schedule that would be proposed from that, our salary proposal, and this is the grandfathered salary schedule. And keep in mind, statute requires us to pay salary on those who are effective and highly effective on the grandfathered as well. It is not an automatic. So you can see, you would take the old salary schedule, you would add the 3,000, this is the bachelor's. They would move up one step. The final annual salary for the grandfathered would be in this column, and you can see the total amount of that increase. Down at the bottom, step Z would get the $3,000 that is on the salary schedule and the $1,500 one-time bonus, which is FRS eligible. This is what it would look like for someone on a master's, with a master's degree. And I don't need to walk through that, you can take a look at that. And then this is the performance effective. So you can see where the effective is. This would be adding the 3,280 or the 3,200 to the performance salary schedule. Plus, if they're effective, they would get $880. This would be the new base, and that would be their final step, and this would be the overall increase to that employee. Unless they had a master's, specialist, C's, or doctorate, and you would add these amounts to the final amount here, because that is base pay, and that is required by statute. Highly effective, same thing, 3,200, the 3,200 added to the base, 2,640, which is 6 incremental steps, keeping with the statute requirement that they have to be the highest paid. The new base, what the value of that base is, and then of course you would add the master's, specialist, C's, and doctorate if it was in the area of certification to the base pay, and that would be all reoccurring costs. We are going to reject the union proposal automatic step to include the opt-in. We're doing this because it's fiscal management. We can't guarantee funding for an automatic amount, and evidence is showing you by our historical that we have continued to commit to paying teachers more and more each and every year, and we will commit to that. Florida statute does not allow us to provide an annual salary adjustment for an employee who receives a rating other than effective or highly effective each year. And we don't know those ratings for sure till we receive their final evaluations, which must include instructional practice and student growth score, and that is per statute. And we develop a budget each year. So we look at what we're giving you this year, we plan for that amount, and then we negotiate for the future amount. And I think I heard the deputy superintendent say this 3 or 4 times the last time we met. We are committed to doing more each year. So it was 9.97 total package in last year, or 9.2 salary. We're doing 10 this year. We hope to do the same or more next year. But we will allow, the district will allow employees to opt into the performance salary schedule prior to board approval of the current year's contract agreement. And this is not, and I know what you're going to say, this is not our pitch to get people to leave the union or feel unprotected, but it is a way to get employees paid the way that they need to, and eventually, over time, the grandfather schedule will go away, and performance will be the only way that the state will pay. So we did provide some examples. And what does this mean for someone on the grandfathered bachelor's to performance, move to performance if they're effective? You can see what their current salary would be. We would add the $3,000 to them because they're on the grandfathered, and this would be the proposed grandfathered amount. So you would take the $6,180, and this is currently where they would be on the performance, but we would add the $3,200 to that and bring them to the closest, but not less than, the annual current salary, which is $62,000. We would add the step 880, and that would bring them to $62,880, which is an increased base pay of $4,080. And you would be able to get the advanced degree supplement on top of that. Grandfathered bachelor's to performance for highly effective, same thing. You would move to the closest but not less than current salary. We would add the 2640 and increase the base pay, plus you would get the advanced degree. And this is all reoccurring costs. This is grandfathered masters to performance and effective. 3,000, and you, same thing going all the way across, and then the advanced degrees. Highly effective, going across, and this would be the increased pay to the base, plus the advanced degree. On the bachelor's, there is no advanced degree. I misspoke on that. This is just for master's degree grandfathered. So you can see historically, we are committed to paying CCEA and all instructional staff more and more each year. And you can see what we've paid historically over time in a nice visual.
Yes, we just thought this was a good place to point out, going back to the article that you, Mr. Mouton, wrote in the Pelican Post, I think 2 versions ago, where you pointed out that last year was the best contract negotiation that CCEA had in over 20 years. We're prepared to, you've done it again. And it's just, we wanted to point that out.
And we're doing better than we did last year. So what's still on the table? And this is the full package, because remember, we don't just talk salary, we talk about all financials. What's still on the table to be approved is the experience credit. And we heard you. If someone on the grandfathered has experience credit that they can verify from an outside experience prior to their employment with us, we will consider it and we will add it to their package. This package, the experience credit, is not calculated into the total of the 10.38. So there will be additional costs to the district when folks decide to elect to bring in more experience credit. Class coverage and split cost increased $20 in the last 2 years. Just 6 months ago, we put $10 on it. We're putting $10 more on it. And each of those split class equals the hourly rate, the average hourly rate of pay for a teacher. And we are open to art, music, and drama supplement increases as well. And we do have the tentative agreements below, which all come with a financial cost to the district. So that's on the table. So this is the district offer. And remember, the percents vary by salary, but nothing is lower than 5% for any one employee. Overall package is 10.38. We are going to also reject the retention supplement. You had claimed that it was 2.37%, but we calculated it at 3.7 million with fringe, based on all the people and their on the salary schedules that they were on. Florida statute requires any compensation for longevity of service to be awarded to instructional personnel who are on any other salary schedule. It must be part of the calculation. So you can call it a supplement, but because it's longevity, you're looking at it as how many years someone's been in the district. It has to be added to their salary and compared. And we believe we've addressed the length of service by adding more money to the grandfather schedule, which we are not required to do by statute, and our experience credit proposal. So again, the district is offering a $20 million salary package that honors all teachers and the service to CCPS. We are also going to reject the Appendix C, specifically the mentor pay, for a few reasons, and it has had a negative impact on teachers in previous years. There are a number of errors that are coming out of the schools. There are a lot of changes. Teachers start with a mentee and then they drop off from a mentee. Overpayments under statute are required to be recouped because it is taxpayer dollars, and it does have a negative impact. And in fact, I worked with CCEA on one employee who had a significant impact, and that hurts. Teachers come in all year round, and assignments for mentors are assigned all year round. We received numerous complaints from CCEA and instructional staff that new teachers were not getting the services from other teachers, their mentor teachers. We increased the supplement 2 years ago, thinking that that would help ease and encourage teachers to help their mentees. We heard from team leaders who said, yes, we have mentors for our new teachers, but they don't serve the teacher, and the team leader ends up doing the work. So a CCEA initiative, this was not a district initiative, but 2 years ago, CCEA, through the Issues Committee, asked to change the mentor program, make it more relevant and accountable. Because we all know, if we don't support new teachers, they won't stay, and that hurts you all. The committee adopted a new handbook and procedures for new teachers. It also strengthened the program and the accountability of support. So it actually has brought the mentor and the mentee together. And they also agreed to split the supplement by semester. So if there were changes, because we do have significant changes throughout the year, that there would be no impact on the teacher. And it ensures that the support has been provided to that new teacher all year. And that is our proposal.
Well, that's up. I think we should caucus before we do anything.
So I'm going to give you the written documents of what we went over, okay? So first is the experience credit. Please remain quiet. There we go. Next, I'll give you the salary proposal. And then last, I'll give you the Article 12. Attached to the salary proposal is the new salary schedule. There you go. And then those other items we already have copies of. We gave them to you, I believe, at the last session. Not last session, the session before. Questions?
Yes, on the union salary proposal, the counter, the second bullet point. On your
Which one?
present,
On salary?
yes. The second bullet point, whenever you put the presentation up, you said a one-time bonus of $1,500. This says a one-time supplement.
It's a bonus.
So bonus is not FRS friendly.
No, I'm sorry, it is a supplement. I meant to change it in the presentation. It is FRS eligible. It will be paid as a supplement.
Guys, you want to go caucus?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have questions?
You have a question?
Can you explain how a one-time bonus supplement to teachers on the grandfather salary schedule is compliant with the statute if you haven't given that same bonus or supplement to teachers on the performance salary schedule?
Because it's in lieu of a step, and we calculated it in the differential between the performance salary schedule and the grandfathered schedule, so it does meet statute. So instead, in lieu of giving the step, we're giving you a flat bonus. We're not adding more steps to the grandfathered schedule. So as you know, on the bachelor's grandfather, you get $3,220. On the master's, you're getting $1,500. We're giving a flat $1,500 across the board for anyone on Z, bachelor's or master's, and it does meet statute because there is enough differential between the high performance on the highly effective on the performance schedule. That's how we're doing it.
That's how you're proposing.
Yes.
Anybody else have questions?
Yes,
Jimmy?
I do. John, in the presentation, you were talking about the funds for the maintenance and how that works. So if the state is giving you dollars to maintain the salary increases that you've already paid, isn't the district's budget though then offset? So because then the district doesn't have to pay those monies. So really, in a sense, that's kind of a balancing out.
But we're counting on those dollars. So we know those dollars are coming, so we make that part of our budget, counting on those dollars that are coming. And so we earmark those dollars for that maintenance portion, and that's how the state wants us to do it. So they're giving you this money, they're saying you have to use it to maintain the previous. So we know this money's coming in, so that's how we budget, knowing that that money's coming in. And then we earmark the 3.9 million, that's the money that's gonna be the extra. And that's the money that we can use towards a salary increase.
Okay, so because the state is providing money for maintenance, what you're doing then is just saying, then this is the amount of money that we can give for raises, what the state is giving us for maintenance. So you're not spending any real dollars.
No, we are. So the
Do you want me to go back to the slide?
yeah, so if you can go back to that slide.
I just don't see any new real dollars being spent if the state is providing you with funds. I mean, you're calculating your budget on that, but you're not really spending any new real dollars.
Yes, so that maintenance portion, which is that 12.5 million basically, we know is coming from the state for the teacher
Right.
salary increase allocation, and it has to be used for prior year increases.
Right.
So the only portion that can be used for anything in 23-24 is the 3.9 million. So that's the only one that, so if you have a proposal that's $30 million, you can subtract that 3.9, and then that's the cost to the district.
Well, sure, but that's not the district actually spending any of the tax dollars that they raise. That's money that's simply coming from the state's allocation.
No.
No, okay.
No.
Okay, well, help me understand it. I just want to understand it.
And we can give you the reports that we send to the state where we have to show that that portion went to the prior year increases and that we are not using that money for any new increases. The state is unfortunately, the state is very specific on how we use those funds. So the only thing that we can use the 23-24, and even our charter schools, they even retire the charter schools, the portion that we give to the charter schools even have to be used.
So I think what you're struggling with is if we didn't negotiate any increases, nothing on the salary schedule, no steps, just what your current salaries are, that's what the maintenance is for.
Okay.
Now, everything else that we're putting on the salary schedule, or the steps would be part, the 3.8 can be used for that growth, and then district monies are added to that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
And is this coming out of then the FTE monies
The state puts
Or
it
is
into,
this an additional funds from the state?
it's a category, it was a categorical that was specifically for that. This last year, they changed it and put it into our base student allocation, but kept all the categorical requirements of it, so.
Okay, now it makes more sense. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Any more questions? Esmond?
Yes, for funds in the general fund that are earmarked for operating, what restrictions do you have on those funds?
Restrictions in the general fund,
Yes.
they can be used for operating expenses, salary, benefits, electricity, things like that.
That's what I-
Operating expenses.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
So monies that you save in prior years, like the more than $5 million that you saved in a budget shortfall from last school year, that went into the general fund, correct?
It goes into our future budget shortfall reserve.
You made that decision, correct?
The board based on our savings, whatever savings we may have in previous years.
Right.
And all that, that's still a cost. So if we were, whatever our package costs, if we're not able to cover it with our current dollars, it's still going to be a cost if I have to pull it from future budget shortfall reserve. It's a cost.
I don't think that anybody on this side of the table is suggesting that it's not a cost.
Your last
Well,
presentation
No,
said it was.
our last presentation said that it wasn't new money. That's what our last presentation said. So when you're taking away the effect of TSIA growth, TSIA maintenance, it leaves a sum of money of which you can make those decisions based on the money that's in the earmarked for operations. So what we're trying to say, and I think that we said it clearly last week, it might have been intentionally misinterpreted, but we're saying that when you have more than $5 million from last year that you were supposed to pay salaries, and then you make a choice, I'm not saying you, I'm saying the district, makes a choice to put it in a budget shortfall for future budget shortfalls, and then the district gets another estimated $5 million for this school year for budget shortfalls for money that you should have paid teachers and you're not. That's money that you have, and that's old money to us because you haven't spent it. That's what we're trying to say.
Sure, I can understand where you're coming from, and I can understand that perception, but we have a fiscal responsibility to make sure that whatever we offer is sustainable. And so it looks like we may have that future budget shortfall reserve, and it's a lot of money, but that money, believe it or not, can be gone in 1 year. So if that tax neutral referendum, for example, next year, it's going to go on the ballot in November, it provides approximately $55 million from our capital, and it transfers into our operating. If that, for whatever reason, doesn't get approved by voters next November, the following year, we're going to have a shortfall of $55 million. That's why we've been building up that future budget shortfall reserve. In case that happens, we're going to have a lot of funds that we're going to have to either, one, reduce programs or staff, or two, tap into the future budget shortfall reserve. That's what the future budget shortfall reserve is for. So it's a safeguard for us, and so it looks like that money is available, but it's earmarked for those future budget shortfall reserves. And the amount of money that we have in there it could cover us for just a few payrolls. It's not something, believe it or not, the amount that we have, I believe, is about $50 million. And like I said, the tax neutral referendum is $55 million. So in 1 year, if that referendum doesn't get approved, it's clear that future budget shortfall reserve is gone in 1 year if we were not to do anything else. Just to put it in perspective.
And you assume that we were going to have $5 million left over because we're not going to be spending that money. But we budget on filling every position in. And if we're not filling it with teachers, we're filling it with other staff and other pay, split costs, coverage costs, Now, we only calculated the increase within our package, but it doesn't calculate the cost of what we're spending in totality for those types of things.
Well, I didn't assume anything. Those
Well, you said
numbers-
5 million.
No, those numbers were projected by the district, Mr. Antonacci specifically. So with all due respect, we understand your proposal.
From our last budget,
But we
yes.
didn't assume anything. Everything that we said in our presentation last week was based on facts, and they were mostly facts that you provided in the atmosphere. They weren't our facts. Those statements were from our superintendent. Those statements with regard to money numbers was from our district CFO.
And I think he explained what you may have misinterpreted from that.
We didn't misinterpret. I think people can clearly understand if you don't spend $5 million last year and you expect an additional $5 million that you won't spend this year, that's $10 million extra dollars. I think that's clear. That's math. But I digress. I'll leave it over to Ms. Baldwin to determine what the team does from here.
Well, and a lot of the information from that PowerPoint, also, a lot of the budgetary information came from the presentation given to the school board, because we went back and watched it.
And those
got that.
figures are accurate. What's not accurate is subtracting the maintenance portion at 13.8 million and then accounting for those budget shortfall reserves as like they're not costs to the district. Those are all costs to us. And the maintenance portion cannot be used. I don't know how many times I need to explain it, but it cannot be used for new increases. It has to be.
But maybe the 22 million that you added back in could be used?
You could.
What 22 million are you talking about?
Didn't you add $22 million back into the budget
To our
shortfall?
future budget shortfall, yes, we have $50 million.
So we keep adding more and more and more to our future budget shortfall, but the people who are living and working here right now need to pay their bills, and they can't do that.
And that's why.
And you say that if you don't get enough people, if we lose the $55 million tax referendum, and it's going to wipe out our budget shortfall, if we don't start paying our teachers what they need to live here and work here, you're not going to have any teachers. You're going to have a huge budget shortfall, but you have teachers teaching classes. That's the problem.
Well, you have our bucket of money. This is as much as we can give, and so you can come back with a counter proposal.
Caucus?
Yeah, we'll go caucus. And it won't take long. Well, this ain't gonna take Before I say anything else, I want to give you a few statistics here. This critical teacher shortage is not something new. Colleges have been reporting a decline in teacher enrollment in the College of Education for years now. School districts have not taken any kind of steps to intervene and make the teaching field more attractive to prospective teaching candidates. This is why we now find ourselves in this predicament. The Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development reported on January the 28th of this year, states that interest in the teaching profession among high school seniors and college freshmen has fallen 50% since the 1990s. And the number of new entrants into the profession has fallen by 1/3 over the last decade. They showed that teachers' job satisfaction is the lowest that it's been in decades, yet nothing has been or is being done to try to revive this profession. So, we caucused, and we reject everything you just presented up here. We will come back next week with a counter, but just some talking points to let you know why we reject this stuff. Could you explain, please, why you're willing to pay people years of experience by letting them bring in 18 years But yet you're unwilling to pay people that have dedicated their entire careers to CCPS. All these people are interested in hearing that. We're all ears. Can you tell us why you want to treat people that have been giving you years of dedicated service like they're not, like a redheaded stepchild? Another very concerning point. In what world do you think it's okay to provide promotions and pay raises to district personnel before paying teachers a decent salary? These are people that are already making well over 6 figures a year and have no direct contact with students whatsoever. At least 9 people that we know of in the district office have received promotions with additional pay increases through a change in job titles during these very negotiations with teachers. All of this is happening while you're crying how broke you are and how fiscally irresponsible we are being for asking for a living wage for our people. In addition, a large number of higher paid administrators in the district office get an audacious health care package paid for their whole family at no cost to them. It's a nice little bill for the taxpayers, but it's no cost to them. While we have teachers out there that have to work 2 jobs just to pay insurance for their children. Yet, you constantly try to negotiate our step away every year, money that we have earned the year before, by working our fingers to the bone and giving freely of our time to help students without the benefit of any compensation. It's like the more we give, the more you expect. We have started each school year since 2006 working on the previous year's salary because you've taken away our automatic step. The money that we earned in May of the previous year. And it's like we told you last week. Teachers don't get promotions. Teachers don't, we can't change our job titles and get a big increase. The step is our promotion. It is our increase. You argue against paying a retention supplement to those that have been dedicated to CCPS over the years, to whom you rely on for mentorship, training, leadership roles, and the list goes on. You are unwilling to pay teachers a wage to where they can afford to live here, even though we have seen where you can more than afford our very conservative package. And let's not forget, the district is going to be debt-free in 2026. That must be a nice place that you sit in. With all of this being said, we would like to leave you with this thought. A very wise man said to all of us just last night, teachers step up every day and give students the high-quality instruction that they deserve, that they need and they deserve. And they have done so selflessly for many years. They've taken away from their own families to provide. It's time for them to get compensated so they can at least afford to live in the community in which they serve. The days of doing business as usual have come to an end, people. It's time to start treating teachers like the professionals they are and paying them a living wage. You will never be able to pay these people what they're worth, but you can at least pay them enough on which to live. One question that we have for you about the presentation. Could you tell us what statute you're talking about and where we can find it? What's the number? You keep referring to the statute says this, the statute says that. VAM is for highly effective. It's not for effective. You don't need it for effective. And the district has a choice whether or not they use VAM. The state doesn't say you have to use that. That's your choice. So by May the 15th if these people are effective. And it doesn't say they can't be paid until you know if they're highly effective. But we would like you to show us where that is in the statute, because we've looked and we can't find it. We have all looked.
We want it now.
I'll send it to you.
wait a minute. We have Wi-Fi. It shouldn't be an issue. You've made reference to this for the past 2 bargaining sessions, and we've never seen it. We're here at the district office. Show it to us.
Yep.
Teachers work hard, teachers are tired. Teachers need to know that they are valued and appreciated. And I'm sorry, I mean, nobody begrudges you guys getting your raise or whatever, but a percentage of what you make and a percentage of what teachers makes is entirely different. And while these very negotiations have been going on, we know of at least 9 people that have gotten job title changes that come with nice little pay raises. But yet we don't have enough money to pay the people that teach our children. I don't know in what world that's okay. Does anybody else have any comments? I'm done.
I would like to know, you said CCEA is the one who came up with the whole mentorship getting paid? The current officers? Or this was previous?
I said 2 years ago.
Okay. When I called the district office last year, when I found out I wasn't getting paid until January, I was told that one of the staff made that decision.
No. And Lyle can attest, it was an issues committee. And it was a group of teachers, not just your executive board, but it was a group of teachers from CCEA that wanted to add relevance and credibility to the mentorship. And it does. I just want you to say, I just want to say, the feedback that we've received from new teachers about the mentorship that they're receiving this year versus years past is much better because you are held accountable to doing that, and it is helping teachers. So it's a kudos to your committee that brought that together.
But the thing of it is, if they're not going to get paid for it, they're going to stop doing it.
It's not that they're not going to get paid. Just like every other supplement, there's a schedule.
So you start working the day you come back to school, and you have to wait till January to get paid. Something about that's not
And the
right.
other thing that you guys added
Similar
to
to
it,
other supplements.
you guys
That's our
added more
paycheck.
classes. So we're trying to figure out when and how are they going to watch these videos for mentorship. When they took the class to become a mentor, you just added more
read a
firewalls
book.
for them to jump through a hoop to get paid,
have to read a
and you're
book.
waiting months later to pay them.
And to have to read a book.
Again, it doesn't happen when you guys do your salary increases. You don't have to jump through hoops. You just do it.
And although this is really probably nothing to do with negotiations, the next thing that is being put on teachers is now we're being told we have to give up our planning time to attend 504 and IEP meetings, and that is not going to happen. We give up enough to cover classes. If we don't attend the meetings, we have to fill out all this paperwork. You better be coming up with some money just like for covering classes, because our contract guarantees us planning time. And it does not say that somebody can tell us how we have to use it. That's at our discretion.
Except for an IEP is planning for a student's instruction, but that's.
But that's my plan,
debatable.
it is, because my contract doesn't say that somebody can tell me how I have to use it, so. Especially when it's students, sometimes you don't even teach and don't even know.
Yep.
And I am not signing my name on a paper for a student that I don't know.
So we'll see you next week, then at CCEA.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
You will.
Thanks so much.
We couldn't do it without you.
Thank you
You
for
guys
being
are
here
awesome.
tonight. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here, and be at the CCEA office on
Let's pack it
Tuesday.
in.
On Wednesday.
Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, 4:30.